So what if I told you you don't need pentatonic scales to solo over a blues? You'd think I was pretty crazy, right? But you don't necessarily need pentatonic scales to play over a blues. So stick around to the end of the video, you'll find out why. And if you don't do this, you're massively missing out. And by the way, meet Big Jim. This is Big Jim. He'll be making an appearance in some of the videos. Yeah, I know you're not getting paid for it, but that's not the point. You're just helping out a little bit, okay? And coming up with a few sort of comments, and hopefully agreeing with things that I'm saying and validating the stuff that I'm saying. So what we're going to do is we're going to play over an A7 blues, but we're not going to think pentatonically at all. As you know, the pentatonic scale has 5 notes in it. So I'm not going to necessarily avoid those notes, but what I'm going to be doing is not thinking pentatonically. And by not thinking pentatonically, that will make you play different lines to the lines that I would normally do. And this is going to create some cool sounds. So let's look at this A7 chord to start off with. Right? So what I'm going to do first of all is just noodle over an A7 blues, but just on my own, and you'll hear the chords going by. So there's no backing track, but you should be able to hear the chords going by because I'm going to think about the chords in my playing, but I'm not going to think pentatonically at all. So what I was doing there was I was outlining the sound of the chords, using a few notes around that, but not thinking pentatonically in the slightest. Okay, I was thinking of the chords, and then I was thinking of notes surrounding the chords that sound cool with the chords. So how was I doing that? So let's go over that now, and this is going to give you some really cool lines that you can play over an A7 blues, and obviously you can adapt this to do it in any key. So let's start with this A7 chord. What I want to find, first of all, is a note that's central to that chord. And the note that's kind of the most central really is the major third, because the major third is really strong. So I'm going to hit that maybe 9 times out of 10, something like that. Often by sliding in from the minor third. Right? So that's what I'm seeing. I'm not thinking pentatonic. I'm just thinking this. Right? And I'm seeing it because I'm seeing that chord. Then I'm going to work my way up to the root. I'm just doing that. Yeah. Now you might go, well, that's part of a major pentatonic, but I'm not thinking major pentatonic. I'm thinking minor third to major third. I know that's the 5, 6, root. And I know how that sounds. I know it's a little walk up to the root. So I'm taking a little path to the root. Now when I'm seeing that root there, the next thing I'm seeing is, what can I do up this way? I'm seeing root, 2, 3 there. And I might play around with that for a while with things like, or, yeah. So far I've got this. Or maybe I could reverse it. But the whole point is I'm thinking about the intervals and the chord. I'm not thinking about the pentatonic scale. Now, when I've come back, let's say I've come back here, I might work my way down the chord by going maybe like that. Now I'm seeing this part of the chord here, this triad. So far, I've got something like, right? Or I might go and emphasize that minor third to major third thing. But I'm seeing that chord playing out of it, or this triad. I'm seeing this triad here. I'm seeing that relationship there. And I can noodle around in those areas quite a lot because I know it sounds cool. Now, I might add on, for example, I might do this. I might add in the flat 7. Now, the flat 7 isn't in the major pentatonic at all. So I'm definitely not thinking major pentatonic there. And there I'm thinking triad. 6, flat 7, yeah, so I can play around with these ideas, but it's coming from the chord and the intervals. Now, when that D chord comes along, everything changes, because the D chord is obviously a different chord to the A chord. It's a D7th chord, and I want to play something that expresses that I'm in the D chord. Now, over the A chord, if you remember, we saw that note as central to the A chord, and we targeted that note. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now target this note, which is the major third of the D. Now, you may not have thought of major thirds a lot, mate, but you definitely played them a lot. I've definitely heard it in your playing. You know, you probably just heard the sound of it and liked it rather than thinking it's a major third. Yeah, all I'm doing is naming kind of what you've done, but thanks for that, okay? Yeah, so players in the day and players still, they might do this stuff without being aware of it, you know? That's cool as well. But to me, I like to know what I'm doing, because then I can target it all over the neck. I can find these things in lots of different areas and lots of different situations. So over the D chord. So what am I seeing there? I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this D chord, okay? And I'm seeing the minor third into the major third. And then I'm seeing the chord. I'm seeing this, aren't I? Yeah? Or it's like that, isn't it? So that is totally coming out of the chord. I'm thinking of the chord and nothing else. Right, ending on that root note. I'll also see, I know that's a D note there, so I know that's a flat 7. I might go to the flat 7 there. I might go to the flat 7 there. I know that's the 5 there, so I might go. But it's creating very strong lines that are very cool, because I'm specifically aware of the intervals that I'm playing, right? Then when it comes back to the A7 chord, I'm seeing that chord again, yeah? And I'm playing over that. And I might well target this note again. But instead of going, let's do this. So I'm going to go a semitone above it, semitone below it. So this is an enclosure. Yeah, it's a jazz thing, okay? You did play a little jazzy stuff, and I think if you're still around, you'd have been really into jazzy stuff and definitely be doing enclosures, okay? So just button it for a while, thank you. All right, so an enclosure is just where you're enclosing a note by going above it and below it. In this case, a semitone above, a semitone below, and then moving into it. So you're kind of wrapping something around the note that you're targeting and finishing off on that. So back to the A, I might target that. Then I could go back to the similar lines that I did before. Yeah, so there I'm just thinking this triad again. Flat 7. Yeah, and obviously the rhythm is really helping, and try and copy some of the rhythms that I'm doing. But I'm targeting similar sort of notes that I did before over the A. I'll probably stay away from, a bit like Albert King, he was famous for playing just on the G, the B and the E strings. He didn't touch these very much, so they're kind of a bit low and boomy down there. You don't want to play them too much in solos. Now over, when it comes to the E chord, the 5 chord, what I'm seeing is a couple of things. I'm seeing this E chord here, and targeting that in a similar way that I targeted the D chord. So I could go, yeah, I'm targeting the chord. Or I might be seeing this little E7 chord here. Yeah, and I think that's what I did in the little noodle. I might have walked into it like this. Yeah, so I'm walking into this major third. Yeah, flat 7, root, back again. And then often I'll just copy what I've done on the E chord, on the D chord. So I could go, and then I'm back to the A chord again. Or I could go something like, target to the E chord here, the D chord here, and then the A chord here. And why am I thinking that? Because I'm thinking of this E chord, I'm thinking of this D chord, then I'm seeing that A note, and I'm thinking 3, minor third, 2, 1, right? So across all of that, none of that am I thinking this. That pentatonic scale, that major pentatonic scale, or the minor pentatonic scale, I'm thinking of the notes, right? And how the notes react to the chord. Now that's going to make me play more harmoniously compatible lines than if I'm just thinking pentatonics, because I'm really thinking about the notes that I'm playing over the chords, right? And it's a really cool way to play. A lot of jazz guys do this. Really thinking in depth in the chords just helps your playing just to fit, you know, absolutely perfectly. So if you want to see more of this, if you head over to the Patreon channel, I'll be doing an extended video on this over on the Patreon channel. So just click the link below and you'll see it over there, and catch you next time.